What's up everyone, and welcome back to another What If video. Last time, we began to cover a scenario where the future timeline had a much different outcome. After reuniting with Yajirobe, Gohan and Trunks now had a source of senzu beans, thanks to Yajirobe being the new farmer of them. With this, they're able to train more effectively and actually survive against the androids. Gohan doesn't even lose his arm. Trunks even got Super Saiyan earlier on, and the two of them were able to strategize and defeat the androids in this timeline. But the question now remains, will they actually travel back to the past now? Well, let's get into it. I left out with a poll on the last part about whether or not Gohan and Trunks would time travel, and a majority of you voted yes, so I'll be taking that into account. When Bulma asked about whether or not she can continue the time machine, it gets a mixed response. Personally, Bulma is in favor of the time travel, thinking it could work, but Gohan argues against it. All of their struggle would have been pointless, and for all they know, altering the past would erase them here. On top of this, he thinks it might not even work at all. What if instead of taking them back to the past in their own timeline, it instead takes them to an entirely separate timeline? If that were to happen, it wouldn't really help them at all, or so he thinks. I didn't really mention her in the last part, but Chi-Chi is still alive, pretty much like normal in that timeline. Of course, she has a say here as well, being prevalent to the story and all. Chi-Chi pleads to Gohan to do it, saying that it's at least worth a shot, and it's their only possible chance of bringing Goku back as well as everyone else. Trunks also agrees, feeling confident that his mom's machine will work, while supporting Chi-Chi's point. As for Yajirobe, he doesn't really care either way. While Gohan isn't against the idea, he's more so pessimistic and he feels like it won't work. He thinks the idea of time travel would be awesome, but he just doesn't know if it'll actually happen. But after hearing what everyone else has to say, he decides it's at least worth a shot. And if it doesn't work, at least the future's already safe and it won't really affect anything. Bulma gets back to work on the machine, but since everyone is basically rebuilding society at the moment, it does take some time for her to finish it. After a few years, the time machine is completed, and it's decided that they'll go back to when Frieza arrived on Earth, and once Goku returns from Yardrat. It's decided that the two people to go are Gohan and Trunks. Trunks needs to hide his identity, but Gohan really has no need to hide it since he was already born years before that, and even if he tried to hide his identity, they'd be able to tell it was him anyways. But this is good, it might even work in their favor. It means they'll be more trustworthy since it's two people instead of one, and having Gohan there will further get them to trust the time travelers. Their first goal is to cure Goku of the heart virus, and they will return 3 years later to kill the androids and see if it does anything to change their timeline. With the medication in hand, Gohan and Trunks say goodbye to their mothers as they travel to the past. Little do they know, timelines in Dragon Ball don't work the way that they hoped. It works more in line with what Gohan was thinking. It takes them to a completely separate timeline rather than their own. But they have no way of knowing that yet. Once they arrive in the alternate timeline, they wait for the moment Frieza arrives. Not long after, his ship is seen entering the atmosphere, and the time-traveling half Saiyans head to the rally point. Gohan remembers this place, knowing that he was there a while ago. In their timeline, Goku was the one to kill Frieza and King Cold, but they can handle that this time. I mean, especially compared to their strength now, King Cold and Frieza are nothing to them. King Cold and Frieza step off the ship, and after swiftly taking out the soldiers, Trunks faces Frieza as Gohan takes on King Cold. Not having introduced themselves to the group yet, the Z fighters of this timeline are obviously present and they're watching very closely. These guys just came out of nowhere, and they're both Super Saiyans, and one of them appears to even be wearing Goku's clothing for some reason. It's really weird. Trunks and Gohan have a really easy time taking out these foes, with everyone stunned to see how easy they made it look. Gohan and Trunks head over to the group, with Trunks throwing down a capsule containing a fridge full of beverages. They might as well relax while they wait for Goku, and they know he's going to be here soon. Everyone addresses the elephant in the room when Krillin asks why this guy has the same orange clothes that he and Goku wear. They don't recognize the purple-haired guy, but the one in orange looks very familiar. President Gohan also points out that it's just like looking in a mirror. This guy strangely looks like him. Oh no. Is this another Raditz situation where Goku has an evil brother from outer space here to destroy Earth? Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo are having some major deja vu right now. But future Gohan laughs, knowing that he's been caught. Everyone was actually onto something, and he reveals that he's actually from the future. His name is Son Gohan. Everyone was relieved, but then also confused and speechless. Wait, this guy said his name is Gohan? Like, that kid right there? Is he playing a joke or something? There's no way this is actually Gohan from the future, right? And he's even a Super Saiyan. They realize he's telling the truth, and it's kinda weird, but at least it sorts out his identity. But what about that purple-haired kid? How can he go Super Saiyan? is strange because normally they're supposed to have black hair, not purple, unless he's like a hybrid or something? Nah, that can't be possible. Trunks dodges all of the questions as Gohan tries to change the subject, and they end up avoiding the questions successfully. Trunks remains suspiciously silent, while Gohan is happy to talk with everyone, and the people with the most questions for him are Vegeta and his past self. After some time passes, Goku ends up arriving on Earth again. He explains what happened, but is caught off guard after he notices the sources of the two powers he sensed. He's able to recognize that this guy looks like an older version of his son, and he jokingly points that out but realizes it makes no sense. But then it's revealed to Goku that it is actually Gohan, an older version of him from the future. Gohan's pretty happy to see Goku after all this time. It's been years since he last saw him. Gohan and Trunks talk to Goku alone and explain everything, including Trunks revealing who he is. Interested to hear that these two are Super Saiyans, he wants to see their power in action. He spars with Trunks for a bit and is impressed, but is more interested in fighting Gohan. Gohan happily agrees to spar, and the two begin to fight. It's a nice moment for him, reminding him of the old times. Except this time, he's the stronger one, which is a little weird. They give Goku his medication, and they proceed to travel back to their time. Trunks is nervous that everyone will find out who he is, and he wants to get out of there quick, so Gohan leaves by hugging Goku, glad to have seen him again. As well as going up to his past self and giving him some words of motivation, the two Gohans shake hands, and the visitors end up going back to their timeline. Now the Z-Fighters of the past must train during this 3-year gap in order to prepare for the androids. Time passes and they return back, and nothing is different. As expected, they may have cured Goku, but the androids are still an issue in the past. For all they know, giving Goku the heart virus medication actually affected their timeline, but it just didn't really do anything big since the androids might have just killed him. So they decide to actually go back 3 years later to help defeat the androids. Maybe that can definitively set their timeline straight. Not much changes over this time period. Training in the past goes pretty normal, and everyone grows as strong as they were in the original story. After some time passes, Gohan and Trunks arrive in the past and are surprised by what they see. Moments before their arrival, Goku fell ill to the heart virus. And on top of that, the two androids found in the city were completely different from the ones in their timeline. And seeing these two androids, not even recognizing them, it gets them feeling a little uneasy. They slowly begin to realize that this is what Gohan theorized. They aren't in the past in their own timeline, they're actually in an alternate timeline, one in which everything is pretty much the same, except it's years behind where they were. Anything they do here won't help their timeline, only this one. Although a little discouraged now, they still decide to save this timeline anyways. They could just bail now and go back to their timeline and not help these guys at all, but it doesn't seem right. It's the right thing to do to help this timeline, regardless if it affects their timeline or not. If they can't prevent the androids in their timeline, they might as well try here. Together, the group ends up finding Jiro's lab and is prepared to fight the androids. And here, things begin to turn ugly. While confident to fight the androids, something completely changes here when it's revealed that there's a third android, number 16, who's stronger than both 17 and 18. Remember, Gohan and Trunks combined were enough to defeat one android, but they couldn't take them both on individually. When they defeated the androids, they had planning and strategy on their side, and since there were only two androids, it was easy to take out one first and then get the other. But having 3 here, especially a stronger one, that's gonna really mess up their plans. Android 16 doesn't get involved in the fight right away, but after chasing the androids from the lab and getting into a fight, 16 steps in to protect his quote-unquote siblings. Surprisingly, Gohan and Trunks were able to injure 17 pretty badly and nearly kill him, while the other Z-Fighters took care of 18. And by took care of, I mean they acted as bait, basically. However, they weren't able to finish him off, because 16 steps in right here to fight them, and they have trouble defending against him. And now with him in the fight, it completely messes it up. They now have to face 16, while the rest of the team faces 18, with 17 also there, albeit badly injured. Thanks to 16 stepping in, the androids are victorious in this encounter, with pretty much every Z-Fighter except for Krillin getting beaten up in the process. After being defeated, 18 says her goodbye to Krillin pretty much like normal, since he didn't get involved. And the androids take their leave to cause more chaos, as well as find Goku. Okay, this is getting kinda bad. If it were just Android 17 and Android 18, Gohan and Trunks would have had an easy time taking them out, especially with the help from the Z-Fighters. They were hoping to end this pretty quickly and stop the androids from ever being a threat. But having a third, even more powerful android there makes the group even more threatening to them. They'll have to plan a different way to defeat the androids now, otherwise, this timeline will be no better off than theirs, and it won't have a chance at surviving. Meanwhile, Goku is still recovering from his heart virus, and the group still needs to wait for him to wake up as well as keeping him away from the androids. With all of this going on, Piccolo bails from the group to see if Kami wants to fuse with him, kinda like Nail did with him on Namek. However, these 3 androids aren't the last of their problems. During this time, Future Gohan and Trunks join Gohan and Bulma, after getting word that another time machine has been found. Did another Future Trunks and Gohan show up? I mean, this is their time machine after all. Unbeknownst to them, another enemy is lurking about. One who is an android not too different from 17 and 18, but one who's much more powerful, and made in a completely different way. While Piccolo waits for Kami to merge with him, Bulma, Trunks, and the 2 Gohans keep investigating this time machine, and see what happened and where it came from. Hopefully they can find the source of this, and that's where we'll leave off for now. So what did you guys think of this part? With Gohan and Trunks there, will the Z-Fighters be able to defeat the androids this time around? After Cell is discovered, do you think any of the events following that will go differently? Be sure to comment all your ideas and suggestions below, while we prepare for the next part. As usual, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like on it, and subscribe as well if you haven't already, and be sure to hit the bell icon to get notifications about any future videos I make, including any future parts of this what if scenario. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.